I'm good, Mike. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Well,
Why is it recording? How do I get it off recording?
you cannot. I am recording it because we'll be posting this to our
Oh,
website so other people can see what's going on.
okay. Okay.
I can mute you though, Mike, if you want me to do that.
No, you're good.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I want to thank everyone for jumping on to get an update on what's going on with the Nancy C. Detert Residential Community, which is the Loveland Center's residential community in the Venice area. Now, bear with me as I'm first time using really a PowerPoint on the shared. So if I do something wrong, I might just have to flip back to my main computer and then go forward. Let's see, return. All right, well, like I said, I'm going to have to flip back to my PowerPoint and go a different direction. Um, let's go back here and see if I can figure this out. I spent all day working on a PowerPoint, and now for some reason I cannot seem to share it with everyone. All right, let's try this again. I'm going to share it, I think, this manner. So while it might not, everybody might not see it huge, at least it's there. So everybody can see that.
All right.
All right.
Yeah.
So today, really, I wanted to sit down and talk to everybody about a little bit of the history of the overview of the project that we have going on, where we currently stand, what is the future planning for Loveland Center, and then give you a little bit of a teaser about Loveland Living, and then maybe finish off with some question and answer time at the end. So the project history. In May of 2023, I was so excited about announcing that we received $15 million towards this project from the state of Florida as our appropriation, which gave us $20 million for us to finish off building the apartment complex of the Nancy C. Detert Residential Community. That is the 83 units that is going up in the back property. At the same time, I announced that we are super excited about our Home of Your Own program, that we were working with Habitat for Humanity of South Sarasota County, and that they would be working on funding and building 38 units or 19 duplexes on the front portion of our property and along the back side of the property that is not that is opposite of our current apartment buildings. We were very excited about it. We started working through the process. We have been working with them since 2019 on that project. Unfortunately, in August, September time period of 2023, we received this letter from the Habitat South Sarasota County, stating that they have decided to not move forward with the project as we originally intended, and as it was a violation or did not really fall into the guidelines that they have from the Habitat International community, and that is providing homes for families and not for people with intellectual developmental disabilities. Um, so that caused a problem for us. But as the saying says here, the only guarantee for failure is to stop trying. And we at Loveland Center really went back to the drawing board. We really had to come up with what was going on because, as I mentioned, the Habitat for Humanity was going to utilize their process to be able to fund the entire villas project, which was also going to be the Home of Your Own project. So we went back to the drawing board and started asking ourselves, and we took a few months to really talk about this here at Loveland at the board level and at the administrative level. Can we find a new partner? Unfortunately, there was not another partner that is similar to Habitat for Humanity that has the volunteer network and the funding network that they have to be able to pull off building such a large project at the same time do it in way that is economical for people to purchase homes. We actually said, is it still feasible? Is it something that we feel that we can actually make sure that it's going to happen? And we'll talk a little bit about it in the plan of how we answered that. Again, what is the timeline? That's going to be part of our plan option. We initially hoped that Habitat was going to be able to finish the project within 5 years. They were going to build 5 to 8 units on an annual basis and hopefully to finish it in 5 years. So what is our new timeline on this project? We then asked ourselves, can we go at it alone? Can we be the general contractor is looking at this and saying, can we develop this on our own? And do we need to have a partner to do it? What was going to be the cost for the overall for the Habitat, not the Habitat, the Home of Your Own project? And then the last thing is how do we fund it? Now, I'll tell you, the board took probably 4 or 5 months sitting, talking about these different things. Once we were aware of what was happening, that we no longer had that partnership with Habitat of South Sarasota County, and we did come up with a plan. Our plan was to move forward as a Loveland community. It has always been our goal to be able to provide affordable housing for individuals with IDD, and to do that in a manner where it is not a pretty institution, but is a place that we felt would be safe and a community where our individuals that we support are seen as an equal in that community. So what we decided at the time is to really phase out this project. So we did come up with a funding phasing out timeline. And then our next step was, how do we fund it? Remember, funded by Habitat before. We used up all the money we had on building the buildings in the back. So we had to really identify where is the funding sources coming from. So our phases, we decided to phase it out over 5 phases. One is the equality lofts, which is the senior apartment cost, the senior apartments and apartments for individuals with disabilities. We are on track to open that up in 2026. Then it was going to be the next phase 2 is going to be the 5 villas that are closest to the Loveland Center property. At this time, we thought, okay, 2026 is something that is very doable. Then we would do 5 villas on the back half of the property. It'd be 2028. Possibly a licensed facility and 3 villas by 2030, and then the remainder 5 villas at 2033. Our plan and our phases and our timeline was to stretch it out a little bit because we have to look for funding sources. We do not have the same funding that Habitat has there. Plus, without the volunteer network and the traditional network of people supporting Habitat, we did not have the ability to bring the cost of the units down. Our current cost of each one of the villas, each side, is between $240,000 and $250,000. So each building it runs $500,000. So we had to really look at what kind of funding sources can we get. We were very pleased that governmental sources came through for us on the apartment complex. So what we did is we did ask for an additional appropriation from the state of Florida, and we are very happy and pleased to get $2.5 million last year to be able to put forth to this project. If you remember what I said, each building is going to cost $500,000 to build. That gives us 5 buildings. Pretty close margin. Happily, the number is coming down a little bit with our general contractor doing a great job trying to save some money. But we've been able to utilize those sources of funding to be able to start the process of building the second phase, or phase number 2 of the project, which is the first 5 duplexes or 10 villas. Other additional funding sources that we're looking at is private investment. Other people who may want to just invest in building here and taking the opportunity to help support other people. Organizational loans. In the project in the back, we've had to take a loan out for that, and we have a a line of credit to help us build the front section. Fundraising opportunities. If you were part of the barbecue this past year, you know that we had a match to start building some of the duplexes, and we were able to raise out of the match about $164,000 in match donations. That's going to go to building another one of our villas. We are looking at HUD grants, resilient SRQ funding, and we are looking at applying for additional state appropriations to help us complete this project. So something that happened though when we made this change and when changes had to happen, our funding requirements have strings because governmental dollars have strings. Unlike Habitat, where they are able to build and sell, the funding that we're receiving as state appropriation has a requirement that Loveland maintains ownership of the homes. We are not able to build and sell. The government does not want to give us $2.5 million for us to turn around and sell it and pocket $2.5 million. So anything that is being paid for via governmental dollars, Loveland has to maintain ownership of those funds. So we are not able to turn around and sell the villas that are being paid for by government dollars to any person at this time. As noted, the cost of the villa is $250,000 per side or $500,000 per building. And when we initially discussed it, utilizing the Habitat process, it would have run down in that $150,000 range. Unfortunately, that is not able to happen at this time. I want to just play a little video that we have put together. I'm going to let this play, and then I'll continue on with our discussion.
It sucks.
Imagine a place where everyone belongs. A place where dignity isn't a privilege, it's a promise. Where independence isn't just a dream, it's reality. This is the Senator Nancy C. Detert Residential Community. Not just housing, but a foundation for the future. A future where individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities and seniors have a safe, stable home. And where Sarasota County's nonprofit workforce can live affordably in the community they serve. Where inclusion is more than an idea. It's built into the walls, the streets, the very heart of this community. With Independence Villas, Loveland Center is creating 19 buildings with 38 two-bedroom paired villas. 40% reserved for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. 60% for Sarasota County's nonprofit workforce. A community designed for success with clinical services, transportation, social and recreational programs, dining, and even a performing arts center. In early 2026, Loveland Center presents the Equality Lofts, 83 apartments, including 53 one-bedroom and 30 two-bedroom homes, ensuring affordable housing for seniors and individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. This vision needs champions. It needs you. Your investment isn't just in buildings. It's in hope. It's in stability. It's in the future of those who deserve a chance to live, work, and belong. As a donor, your generosity will be recognized in the Loveland newsletters, website, materials, and the Loveland Venice lobby. For those of you who name a space, your impact will be permanent. A place where everyone belongs, where dignity is a promise, where independence isn't just a dream, it's a reality. With Senator Nancy C. Detert Residential Community, fostering independence, stability, and inclusion. Visit lovelandcenter.org for more information and email philanthropy@lovelandcenter.org.
So a little bit of why we're doing that. We want to let you know what was going on, what you should expect there. But also we are still looking for funding for the buildings as we go through, because like I said, we've been able to fund the first 5 buildings, but we still need to raise money to fund the remainder of the buildings. We do have people who are willing to give in the community, and there are donor levels that we do have, and naming rights for many different things that are happening over there. A little bit about the layout of the independent villas. As you can see, they're 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom villas. Getting bigger for you.
No, it's walk.
Okay, wait for it to
2-bedroom, 2-bathroom villas. And like I said, the first 5 will be completed hopefully this upcoming year. The equality lofts, again, here's the 1-bedroom picture of the 1-bedroom in here. 83 apartments. They are going to be 53 1-bedrooms and 30 2-bedroom apartments in that facility. So where do we currently stand? Make it smaller again. The equality loft should be open between January and February of 2026. We will be rolling out our application in July of this year. If you are on the wait list already, you will be getting, and we have your email and contact information, you will be getting a email asking you to fill out the application. We just did send out a survey for every person who has an intellectual developmental disability. We have two different groups going. One is for our seniors and one is for the people with IDD. Currently, there is 214 people who are interested in the equality lofts buildings for really about 38 or 39 apartments that we're going to have there. So we did send this out asking everybody to respond, let us know what your needs are, let us know what your financial capacity is, what are your needs for when you move in, are you able to be independent or do you need some support? The Independence Village, as I noted, was going to be a 5 to 8 year project. So right now we're on phase 2 and we're happy that we received funding this past year for that. We have requested additional funds this year to see if we can move forward quicker. And we're putting in some resilient SRQ request to see if we can remainder of that funding because we would like to get it done. The rental rates are written there. Those rates prior to the utilities allowance. So our rates are set by Florida Housing Corporation, FHFC. You can actually go and just look up FHFC rent rates and scroll down to where it says Sarasota County. And those are the rent rates that we are able to rent at. These are all 60% AMI units in the equality lofts in the Independence Villas. So the 1-bed is $1,131 and the 2-bed is $1,357, based off of the 60% of AMI. What that means is that your home needs to be able to earn between $33,000 and $55,000 on an annual basis to meet that 60% of AMI. I'll just throw up the next thing and show you a couple pictures of where we are at. I took these pictures probably 2 hours ago. We actually have roads up in the front section and the sidewalk, which is really nice. And if you look down at the bottom right, that is the second floor of the of building C, which is one of the 30-unit buildings that is going up. In a meeting yesterday, I was told that the actual trusses should be on our buildings by May, which means we should have roofs by June, and they should be moving quickly or filling out the inside of it as we go forward. We are not able at this time to really take any tours of the buildings. Obviously, it's in a significant construction zone. When tours are able to be rolled out, we will be setting out a little bit more information. We can set some of those walking tours up. I wanted to talk about a little bit of that data. So we did a survey. I mentioned that we did a survey not too long ago, asking people about their needs. And some of the data was very interesting. 86% of the people who responded, potential residents, do not meet that 60% of AMI independently, which means they probably have to have a roommate to share maybe in a 2-bedroom apartment. 48% of the people don't have anybody else to help support them. So that means 52% could have a person that would want to support them with their rent. What I thought was interesting is that while 86% of people do not make it on the income level, 52% of those people also would not like to live with a roommate. So 48% said they would not. So there's going to have to be a little bit of movement on some of the people's end of how and who am I going to live with, and can I financially make this work for me? In the buildings in the back, we have 38 units set aside for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. 50% have funding for support services. So as people have come in and said, hey, my needs are, I need to have staff with me 24/7. 50% of those people have funding for those services. And 80% of the people that responded require additional supports to live independently. So we could see that there's a little bit of a gap there. So our future plans, looking at some of the data that we received, looking at other surveys that we've done in the past, Loveland has really looked and said, we want to look and see, is there ability for us to convert one of our, what would be duplexes into a licensed residential service or a licensed residential building. So turning into a group home. So can we take one of the duplexes and instead of making it a two-bedroom, 2-bath home, create a 6-bedroom, 2-bath home or 3-bath home to be able to serve 6 individuals? So we're looking at that. We're looking to see, can we take some of the units that we have in the equality lofts and create an adult living facility out of them? When I talked about the data that 80% of the people who responded need service, but only 50% of the people have funding for services, it really got us thinking here at Loveland of how can we go ahead and still be able to provide that service to people and allow people to be able to live in these units, but live in these units in a successful, independent fashion. So we're really looking at the adult living facilities because those people who are not Medicaid waiver approved, many of them have Medicare, and Medicare will provide support. They will provide dollars to provide that additional support and services, whether it's just it's medication passing or it's supervision or complete full care in their home. They can get that service and get it paid for through Medicare. So looking at multiple different services that we are going to be able to provide. We're looking at transportation services. These programs in the back will have dedicated vans and dedicated staff to provide transportation to and from community activities, but community areas like the stores and churches and banks on a regular basis. We are working with a bank that is going to come in and actually have a monthly time where they come in and provide on-site banking for any person who needs it, who does not want to go out. We'll have that opportunity also. For those who live in the Loveland Village, they already know that we started a recreation program this past year that's gone very, very well. We're looking to expand that recreation program and add an additional staff member and maybe, and obviously additional recreational activities to go along with that. And in January, February, with the opening of this program next door, we will be starting up an on-site cafeteria in the clubhouse in the current commercial kitchen, where people will have the opportunity to be able to join a meal plan where you can get dinners every single day, 7 days a week, but also then on the weekends have lunch and have breakfast. Something that is very new to us here at Loveland is something that we are rolling out. Is called Loveland Living. For those who live in the village, you know that Loveland has not been able to be a support provider to you in your home due to regulations. We have been recently approved by APD to utilize our supporting organization, the Loveland Legacy, which is being rebranded as Loveland Living, to develop in-home supports for the Nancy C. Detert Residential Community, for us to be able to provide supported living, personal support, companion services, and live-in supports to the people who live in the Loveland Village, and also for those who will be moving into the Equality Lofts and then the Independence Villas. We're very excited, as we've been working on this for a number of years, to be able to do this. My current Chief Administrative Officer, Kathy Logren, is actually going to be moving into the role of an executive director of the Loveland Living. And Irvin Augusta, who is working down there as case manager, will move over into that, and Kelly McDermott will be maintain the rec coordinator. We will be hiring a manager to oversee the supports and services that are being provided, the direct supports and services being provided, but that is still to be determined. If you need more information about Loveland Living, I ask you to email Kathy at klogran, LOUGHRAN, at lovelandcenter.org if you're interested in getting more information or having Loveland be able to provide that service. I want to thank you for everyone for being on today to kind of get an update on where we are. But I do, before I go, want to open it up to questions. So if people have questions, I'm going to stop my sharing. And they want to, I think you can put up a hand and we can click on it and let you know if you have any questions. I am not seeing any questions at all.
Oh, we're all in shock.
You're all in shock.
Well, it's gonna take longer than we thought it would take.
The building of it?
Yeah, the building to move in.
Yeah, we're two homeless seniors, and we're hoping that we could find a place.
Yeah, it's we're still on the same schedule for the actual building of the buildings that we've had from the beginning. We actually are probably a little ahead of schedule. Right now, we're probably 1 or 2 months earlier than what we thought that we would be finished. When I spoke with my builders yesterday, they gave me a different date that was even earlier, but I don't really want to say that just in case, things do happen, weather and things could set us back. So we're actually on target for the schedule that we had initially set.
Okay, and our apartments come first, right?
Yeah,
I don't know what that means.
talk to him.
Thank you.
Can you,
Yeah, what?
I don't know how long the bill is.
Oh, Michelle, if you can unmute and then ask your question.
Yeah. Hi, good afternoon. I don't remember you asking about the financial situation because I did fill out the last survey. I might have missed that part, but I don't remember that.
Yeah, Michelle, I'll scroll through and look at it. We had 149 of our 214 people respond back on it. Michelle, I'll take a look and then I'll get back to you on it.
Thank you.
No problem. Jen, if you can unmute and ask your question. Jen? She's got her hand up, but apparently doesn't want to ask.
Can you hear me now?
There you go.
Hi.
Hi.
Where can somebody apply to be on the waiting list?
So you can just go to our intake person. I'm trying to think of what her name is. Kay Heater, KHEATER at lovelandcenter.org. Email her and say that you want to be on the wait list. And what you would do is leave your contact information and she'll give you a call back and she'll get that set up.
Okay, I'm just she's daughter is 16 now, but I know it might be a year or so, maybe even wait list. So I thought to get on the wait list now, would that seem?
Yeah, absolutely. I always suggest getting on the wait list. I will tell you, like the Loveland Village, for the longest time, we ran about a 10-year wait list for the number of availability there. So we had well over 100 people waiting. But we don't take people traditionally off the wait list as in you were number one, you were number two, you were number three once we're open.
That's the question you have, Nan.
What we do is we try to make sure that the people say we had an opening in a 2-bedroom apartment in the Loveland Village right now, and I was living there. My case manager would actually set up interviews for me of a group of people who are like me, my age, my sex, right? So it's trying to get us into that area where we might have something compatible. Because I will tell you, because I'm not young any longer, if I was to be stuck with a 20-year-old person in my
Right.
apartment living with me, it would drive me nuts.
Right.
So what we do is we let them interview and then choose who their roommate is going to be.
Okay.
Okay.
I just came across this. This whole thing sounds amazing.
Well, we are trying.
That's good. I would thank you for your help and I'll contact her and reach out.
Excellent.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
5 to 8 years for the villas.
Um,
What do you say, 5 to
Kim, do
8?
you have a question?
They're ahead of schedule, though.
Villas.
Kim, did you have a question? I saw you raise your hand.
Yeah. Wondering about the people that are already in the apartments, and will some of those people be transitioning to the new apartments?
So we are setting up, we've said this right from the beginning on how we are looking at really bringing people in to the apartments. The first group of people that we're really looking at is people who are being supported and served by Loveland Center right now. They're actually kind of on the top of our list. They're our tier 1. And then it would be tier 1A would also be our staff members. As you notice that in the villa section that we have a nonprofit workforce housing, they're 1A. That's the first people that we're going to be looking at for the staff member portion of it. And then we have people who are people who are affiliated in some way with Loveland, whether they're a volunteer or they are they're a volunteer or they live in our residence already. So we're looking at moving them over. Then it will become people who have family members who are looking at who are here at Loveland. So if I was a senior and I wanted to move into the apartments and my son attended one of the programs here at Loveland, I would be kind of on the higher level tier for the people who are seniors, right? And then we work it down to then people who don't have any affiliation with Loveland Center. For those who are probably wondering, we have 22 people who currently receive supports and services from Loveland who are interested in moving into the apartments. Does that mean that all of them qualify, or does that mean that all of them can live independently or live independently with support? It does not. So those are all things that we have to look at as we are moving through, because I have a goal to not put a person into a place that they will not be successful living there, right? So we want to make sure if a person needs supports and services, they are getting the supports and services they need before we would have them moved in.
Thank you.
I don't see
Patrick,
any.
you have a couple of questions in the chat if you're able to pull that up.
Thank you. Okay, yeah, I can give the email address out again. It's K Logren, Loughren. Actually, I'm going to type it in. K Logren at Loveland, LOVELANDCENTER.org. I am putting this in the group chat for those who are wondering what I'm doing. That is the email address to the person who was doing Loveland Living. Somebody asked about, will security be similar to the current apartments? You know what? That is still up in the air. Our current security are great guys. They are there for just in case something is going to happen, right? They're more of just keeping an eye on things and not true what I would call security personnel. They're not stopping a person if they're coming through with a gun. They're not doing any of those things. I am hoping that I am able to be able to, by having staff members on site, as we're developing Loveland Living, we're going to have on-site staffing 24 hours a day in the Loveland Center. So I'm hoping that will provide that additional level of support that people need. We do have in our budget the additional security cost for the stretching of our current security over there if necessary. Another question was, if someone is on the waiting list and they get in, are they able to bring in someone else as their roommate? No. What we would ask you to do is have them also get on the waiting list. All right. We have a listing of people that we're going over. I will tell you I mentioned about the people with IDD, the list. We have over 250 people on the seniors side who are on our wait list. Couple things that have to be done before you move in. We need to have a background check, a 2-step, because we want to make sure that, we want to make sure you're not a criminal, you're not a crook, you're not going to hurt people while you're here, that you're going to maintain our community standards. And you also have to income qualify. So if I brought a person in and I was making the income and I brought in another person as my roommate and they had income that threw me above the 60% of AMI, that could threaten the grants that we have to be able to get funding and could throw everybody's housing at risk. And we don't want to do that. So you have to bring someone in who is really on that list and just get them put on the list. It doesn't hurt to do that. Michael asked about fobs to enter. Yes, we're having key fobs for all of the doors, the gates on the outside. The senior housing portion of the equality lofts, they are garden style apartments, so there will be gates at the end, and then they're on every single floor. You'll have the ability to do that, and your key to get in your home will not be a key fob. There'll be a standard key, but to get into the gate, yes, you'll have a fob. So building C, which is the first building that I showed you, I have a fob that'll let me into C, but I will not be able to get into B or A or the villas or any of the current Loveland Village. What if there were a senior who has a disabled family member currently being served at Loveland? Would that potentially qualify for people for the 2-bedroom unit? Yes. And what I would also tell you is that would qualify as a senior apartment and not as a person with an IDD apartment. Because, Loveland Center, we are here to serve people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So as many people who have an intellectual and developmental disability that we can serve is what we're really going to try to do. So if you are you have a son who has a disability and you're a senior and you're kind of hitting 2 different things, we would bring you in and you would be checked off on the seniors portion of the apartments and not the IDD portion. Any other questions? All right. Well, if there's no more questions, I do appreciate everybody jumping on and having so many people here. I love being able to say that I am the person that has the most people attend my Advocan series of all the Advocan people. And this just helps with that. So thank you very much for the information. I look forward to being able to send out additional information to everyone in the near future and to seeing people move into the Senator Nancy C. Detert Residential Community and seeing the happiness that we're able to provide to our community. Everybody have a great evening. Thank you.
Okay, what's for dessert?
So don't